In this video, we're going to look at example 2 for expected value. So in a game, you flip a coin twice, and you record the number of heads that occurs. You get 10 points for 2 heads, 0 points for 1 head, and 5 points for no heads. What is the expected value of the number of points you will win per turn? So the first thing you need to know, unlike example 1, which gave you your sample space, it had to be 52 cards. First, you need to find your sample space. So you're flipping a coin. What are your possibilities? Heads or tails? You're flipping it twice and recording the number of heads that occurs. So I'm flipping the coin twice. I'm looking at my sample space here. I could flip and have 2 heads, a heads and a tails and a heads, or 2 tails. So my sample space, out of flipping those coins twice, whether it's heads or tails, I have 4 possible outcomes. So now let's make a little chart because we have several things going on here. 10 points for 2 heads, 0 points for 1 head, and 5 points for no head. So you've got several different pieces. So let's make a little table here. So in the event that you flip 2 heads, you get 10 points. Well, what's the probability of getting 2 heads? Well, you look back at your sample space. There's only 1 time out of 4 where you will receive 2 heads. So your probability of flipping 2 heads back to back is 1/4. And you get 10 points for that. What about 1 head? If you flip 1 head, you get 0 points. How many times or how many events occur with 1 heads? 1, 2. Out of the 4. So in other words, 2/4, or if you want to go ahead and reduce it down, 1/2. So the probability of flipping 1 head is 1/2, but you get 0 points for that. How about the last event, 0 heads? If you flip 0 heads, you receive 5 points. Well, looking up there, back at our sample space, that gives me a heads, that gives me a heads, that gives me a heads. So only 1 time out of the 4 give me 0 heads, and I get 5 points for that. So I have the value, looking for that expected value, I have the value here. I now have the probability for each of those events. Let's put it all together. So to find the expected value, that E parentheses X, I multiply the value by its probability. So for 10 points, I had 1/4 of a shot of receiving 2 heads. For 0 points, I had half a chance of receiving 1 head. And for 5 points, I had 1/4 of a chance to receive 0 heads. Now I'm adding all of these together because these are your possible values. Unlike the first example where if you lost, you owed money back. That was a subtraction. Here we're adding them all up. And when I bring it all together, I get 3.75 points. So my expected value of the following is 3.75 points.